Well, bowling fans, thanks for joining us again from Castle Lanes and Racine. Joining me again for the commentary, Dwight Albrecht. And Dwight, three awesome bowlers in the girls division today, and we're starting off with a great match between Stephanie Schwartz and Tedra Tado.
Tedra, no stranger to TV. Should be a great match between the two young ladies.
Absolutely, and the winner of that opening match goes on to take on somebody we haven't seen in a couple shows, but plenty of experience out there, Katie Zwiefelhofer.
Yeah, 15 times I believe, Phil, that she's been on your shows and 6 or 7 titles, and that experience will go a long way in the final match.
As always, we open up with our EFX division match. Dwight and I will be back from Castle Lanes with that after this short break. I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too. New Berlin Bowl presents the 2011 Wisconsin Women's Open on Sunday, November 6th, with a guaranteed $500 first place prize. This is Wisconsin's premier one-day scratch women's only event. Be sure to get your entry in early. You can contact Kevin Frew at New Berlin Bowl at 262-641-0014 or go to newberlinbowl.com. And we're here for the EFX Division Final for the 2011 Kickoff Classic from Castle Lanes. And Dwight, got kind of a contrasting styles here between Clayton and Jake.
Yeah, you got a high rev player with Clayton, and you got that classic down and in stroker type of release with Jake. And you can see that Clayton really gets a lot of it at the bottom of the release. And what I like, Phil, is he's got that nice heavy forward roll in the ball. You can see that the ball still changes direction quite a bit down lane, and that's the weight block of the ball migrating. It's obviously not helping it much with his hand as he stays more behind it. He's going to pick up a less friction ball to go across alley at the 6 and 10.
Flattens it out real nice, but doesn't quite get the ball all the way over and leaves that 10.
Yeah, you can see even going across alley, Phil, he puts a lot of revs on it, and that's going to, even no matter if it's a low friction ball, it's going to hook a little bit.
Our first TV show ever for Jake Kessler here, also out of Burlington. Goes to Gateway Technical College down in the Burlington area. High game of 241, high series of 549. Been bowling since he's 9 years old, but he's really been working on his game over the last few months during the summer. It showed he makes his first TV finals today and comes up high.
Yeah, absolutely, Philip. I mean, if these guys got here, they've worked hard on their game, and they deserve to be here. He's just a very classic styles type of stroker, and you still see a lot of those guys on the Pro Tour, even though the large percentage of them, the young men on the Pro Tour, are really more like Clayton, where they really strap it up. Looks like he dropped that one, Phil, a little bit and came off his hand awfully quick. He's actually looking at his hand after the throw.
So could have had a little moisture on there. I mean, little nervousness out there, first time under the lights, and well, it happens to everybody.
We won't start talking about what we did on our first TV shows, Phil, ever. I remember bowling with the champs. I remember my first show at 21 years old, and didn't do too good, and I had a bowl against Kevin Schwabe, who was the champion the year before. So it's a learning experience, that's for sure. And obviously Jake comes back with a beautiful strike, so that should give him a little bit more confidence.
That should relax the swing up a little bit for him. And Clayton going to step up here, another product of that great youth program down at Town and Country Lanes. We see so many bowlers on the U Challenge telecast from Town and Country, regardless if it's the handicap division. We've seen them in the girls scratch division with Kim Brown. We've seen them in the boys scratch with Cody Holbeck and Joe Dietz, and these kids know how to bowl at Town and Country.
Yeah, you know, I think that's just great that he gives a lot of credit to Merle over at Town and Country, and then all the coaches who helped them. You know, you don't get where you're at unless you do have the work and the dedication on your part, and then the coach's eyes standing behind you telling you what you're doing right or you're doing wrong. From behind, you can see on that last shot, he's got a very loopy swing, but it's amazing that he has the accuracy right at the bottom. And you can see that ball's got a very, very consistent trajectory, so very impressed, even though his swing's got a lot of loopiness in it.
And the lane condition's the same condition you saw in the festival doubles, so it's a modified house pattern. Kids shouldn't have too much of a problem, honestly, getting to the pocket on a regular basis. It's a matter of making the spares and finding that right line to carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is going to be obviously a little bit of a softer pattern, and obviously when you're on TV, any type of miss area room you can have would be great. It looks to me like he's just starting that one off in the dry a little too early, Phil. He could bump in a board or two with his feet to the left and catch a little bit more oil.
So leaves that pesky 310 split. Bowler Jake's ability, I'd say it's about a 70% chance he's going to make this, get that ball right between the 3 and the 10. It should be pretty easy for him to pick up.
I agree, Phil. The straighter you can go, and his game is pretty straight as it is. Great cover there. Obviously, to make a 310, folks at home, you're trying to target that 6 pin.
Absolutely. Want to thank our sponsor, High Five Gear, on board for the entire season this year. They've got some great new gear coming out, Dwight. They've got brand new towels, rosin bags. They can put any graphics or logos on their forms, so check out that website at highfivegear.com.
Yeah, it's one of the best shirts that I have ever worn, and like I said before, it feels like you're not wearing anything. The fabric is so thin and so soft, and for bowling and you're swinging your arm at your side, you want to have that stretchability, and definitely those shirts are the way to go.
Well, Jake's got himself a little problem here. I think, as you said before, he's a little bit too far out in the dry early, and that ball really checked up early on him, 6, 7, 10 split, and that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, back in the days of bowling with the champs, Phil, you had the ability to have a corner man in your corner, and these kids unfortunately do not. And boy, if I was sitting in that corner, I'd say, let's move in a little to the left and bump your feet in a couple boards to the left. But, that game goes by so quick, Phil, that it's like a blur once you're actually on the lanes bowling.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Cody Holbeck back there, Joey Dietz, both friends with both these guys, and I'm sure if one of them came up to ask him for a little help, they'd give it to him. Clayton doesn't need help tripping fours like that, though.
Yeah, that's a great break there, and a nice 3-bagger start the match and kind of puts him in a very early lead.
Yeah, 31 pins, he's moved out ahead, overcame Jake's 5-pin handicap differential early on. As always, we keep the EFX division handicap to keep the competition even for these bowlers, and Clayton looking to really extend that lead out to 41 if he can get a strike here.
The big thing is Clayton is playing the lanes correctly. He's starting in the oil, swinging it to the dry. He's getting that, what I call that beautiful banana shape type of motion, and any level, at any stage you're at, that's what your eyes need to see while the ball is going down the lane, is that clean through the fronts, that nice roll in the mid lane, and that strong continuation on the back.
Yeah, you saw that strong continuation. That ball went through the pin deck at the 8-pin spot. It continued so hard.
Yeah, that one he got out to the right a little early on that first ball. It hit the dry track and then took off.
Covers the spare nicely. With that, we've got our first commercial break of the day. Be sure to come back and join Dwight and I from Castle Lanes and Racine in just a couple of minutes. The Milwaukee Bucks and Columbia St. Mary's present Bucks Bowl for the Cure on Friday, October 28th at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. $30 entry fee includes bowling, shoe rental, t-shirt, gift bag, and 2 tickets to select Bucks games during the 2011-2012 season. For more information about Bucks Bowl for the Cure, go to bucks.com/bowl. The EFX division final from Castle Lanes and Racine. And Dwight, Jake Kessler's got himself a big hole to get out of right now.
Yeah, and he knows it. There's no doubt about it. You can see the expression on his face, and the body language. Phil tells it all. One thing I would like to see him try to work on, Jake, is try to work on that pushway area. Try to get that ball pushed out a little bit more vertical, straight out in front of you. Horizontal, as opposed to letting it drop into the swing so quick. That would kind of create a little bit more of a natural backswing height for you. Great shot there. Looks like he moved in a little bit or picked up his speed a little bit, leaving that wrap 10.
Just got to stay with it, make the spare, which he does nicely.
Nice
Keep himself
there
in the match, because you never know what's going to happen with 5 frames to go. You can make up that 30 pins in a hurry. You get a 3-bagger in there, your opponent opens twice, and next thing you know, you're in the lead.
Correct. It can change so quick, and that's why it's not over till it's over.
That's just dead left, basically in the backswing. Almost got a break there, something between the 3 and the 10. Unfortunately, didn't hit either one of them for him.
Correct. It actually made it even tougher now. Now he's got another baby split. Let's see how he does in this one. Obviously, he's 1 for 1 so far.
Switches to that lower friction bowling ball. And had that same problem in the first frame where he just gets a little quick and everything shoves out to the right on him.
Yeah, and that's just a timing flaw type of thing. And I think a lot of it starts in that pushway area. That's what I caught right away from the first frame on, is that, boy, he gets the ball into the swing real quick in that first step.
Oh, and especially if the nerves are going too, you want to make sure you're throwing good shots. And
absolutely,
the easiest thing to do is just get quick with everything and get yourself into trouble. Wow, Clayton came out of his shoes on that one and came high because of it.
Yeah, I would love to know, number-wise, his rev rate. It's got to be way in the high 3s or low 4s. And the thing that I also like, too, is, again, I just love the ability that he stays behind the ball and has that heavy forward roll on the ball at that release point. That's going to make the ball really read the lane nicely.
Clayton going to cover the 6'10", gets it nicely. No, he's looking forward to high school bowling season again. We saw the Burlington team last year on our Midwinter Classic from here at Castle Lanes, and they defeated Kenosha Bradford in the finals of that tournament. They lost Joey Dietz, they lost Cody Holbeck to college, and Clayton's going to have to step up and be a leader on that team this year.
Yeah, and obviously it's going to be a lot more pressure on his shoulders, and the sign of a true man is you're getting older now and becoming a young man, as you got to be able to handle that pressure when you're called upon it. Philly's got a high game of 279 and a high series of 717, so the young man can throw a lot of strikes.
Yeah, just took all 10 back in the pit on that shot. Jake Kessler, his high score here, if he goes off the sheet, is 204 with his 5 pins of handicap. Pretty much no other choice but to get strikes. And, of course, as soon as we need him to get one, rings up another 10 on lane 22.
Yeah, you can see that one real close right before the ball got to the pocket. It kind of quit, or it kind of started to skid a little bit. And that little lack of entry angle is why that 6 wrapped right around the 10. Otherwise, great shot.
Needs to hold line there. Ooh, that was a little close for comfort for me.
Yep, I mean, he's hitting them thin, but he's making them.
And he's not having the greatest game right now, but he's keeping his head up. He's checking the scoreboard. He knows he's down by a lot, and I don't think there's any quit in Jake. I think he's going to keep trying to pump along and get the best score he can here. A little frustrated, but still making good shots, and a weak 10 this time.
Yeah, again, you can see it again. The ball gets to about 50, 55 feet. You're hoping that it would turn into the pocket so it can carry that flush pocket strike, and it just looks like the ball just starts to go a little straighter on him, and then you're going to start leaving the weak 10 or that cold 10 where, Phil, that could be a lot of things. That could be the lack of rotation. It could be also that his ball might have a little oil in the shell. Who knows what it could be, but when you don't have that continuation on that last 5 feet, last 10 feet, you're going to leave a lot of the back row.
Yeah, and it's a prime example, as we talked about at the beginning of the match. The bowlers are going to find their way to the pocket. It's finding that key to unlock, taking out the 4-pin, the 10-pin. That's going to win matches, not just on this match, but on the girls and boys division finals as well. And Clayton just strapped on the feed bag on that one and ripped that cover off.
Absolutely. You could see him even snap and pop his head up out of it a little bit at the finish. And obviously, if you can't keep that head in that shoulder line steady, no matter how many revs you get on the ball, you're going to have a tendency for that ball to miss your mark, usually to the left. Look at all the revs Philly has on it, even just for the spare ball. Very impressive game.
Yes, indeed. Covers up nicely. Pretty much just has to mark his way off the sheet here in order to win the title for sure. Jake's high score possibility right now would be 183, so Clayton just needs to get a mark in either the 9th or 10th frames here to win. And wow, how about that 4 power?
Yeah, there's your 4 to 6 degree entry angle and slightly high into the pocket, and basically the ball didn't do its job. It actually missed the 9-pin going dead left, probably chopped off the 8-pin instead and missing the 9-pin. There's all that power. Sometimes you can leave, unfortunately, that cold 8 or cold 9 when you got that big of an entry angle and all those revolutions.
Yeah, I mean, it's come close a few times in previous years as well, where you see these power players on the right side almost leave pocket 7-9s because the ball drives so hard getting through the pocket.
Yeah, again, you have to have a little deflection when the ball hits the pocket for the ball to take out those 4 primary pins, and obviously he was a touch high in the pocket. Let's take it granted for that. But boy, that ball had absolutely no deflection when it went through the pocket, leaving the cold 9.
Yeah, and that ball didn't deflect anything because it was right on the head pin for Jake. Pocket 710, but not all is lost, Jake. If you can make this, it's a $100 scholarship bonus from Essential Bowling Concepts. Haven't had one made on our shows yet, but someday it's going to happen. You rattle it around a little bit.
I made one in my whole life, and I threw it as hard as I could. I'm surprised I still have a rotator cup.
I've got 2 under my belt, and yeah, it's pretty fun when you do that. So for the longest time, I had more 710s made than I had 300s in my career. So
something to be real proud of, Phil.
Well, it's something that doesn't happen too often for too many people.
No, absolutely not. We can talk about it years later.
Exactly. Well, Jake's going to try to finish off strong here. He can shoot 155 scratch. I'm sorry, 155 with his handicap if he goes off the sheet.
Missed right of his target, and he didn't look like he had much rotation on that one at all, so it just was not going to recover. Actually got a kind of a break hitting the 3-pin left himself a pretty easy spare, just leaving the 1-2.
Yep. Well, Jake's still going to earn himself an $80 scholarship for his efforts today. We had a nice turnout in the EFX division here at Castle Lanes. Great amount. We had 60 bowlers total. There's not a lot of adult tournaments out there I can say they get 60 bowlers in a one-day event nowadays.
You're absolutely right, and I just think that's wonderful that our youth are stepping up and getting this experience and being on TV, bowling these tournaments, because this is going to get you ready for the adulthood bowling. And you'll have that experience at an early stage where a lot of us, when we were your kids, your age, we didn't have TV shows or tournaments to qualify in to be on TV even.
Yeah, and with both these bowlers out of Town and Country Lanes in Burlington, Merrill Draper down there always has that all-star bowling. Every year qualifying for that will be starting in November and December, so adult bowlers, senior bowlers, if you're looking to try to get on that all-star bowling TV show again, give Merrill or Teresa a call down at Town and Country Lanes, and they will get you hooked up with a squad qualifying for that event.
I think it's just great that anyone that does any type of promotion of our sport through a televised bowling show, we have to have it. We have to continue it. Again, I always say that our kids are our future of this sport, so it's wonderful to see you, Phil, and Merrill continue the TV shows. I just think it's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, and any exposure, anything, any way we can get it for bowling. I know Merrill's always been a big supporter. He's even helped drive kids to these tournaments to make sure they get here. So we always got to thank him for that. And we've got one of our events coming up in October down at Town and Country Lanes for the U Challenge Series. So we'll have information on that during one of the breaks in the telecast as well.
Yep, and again, thanks to guys like Merrill for the volunteering and for the dedication, so our sport can continue for decades upon. Well, you can see obviously with Clayton, he got one right, he got one left, and got a pretty good amount of miss area out there, and shot at just an absolutely awesome game at 213, Phil.
Absolutely, the 213 to 149 victory for Clayton Moss. We'll be back with the girls semifinal from the 2011 Kickoff Classic at Castle Lanes in just a couple of minutes. Oh, with me here again, Dwight Albrecht from Spare Time Pro Shop in New Berlin Bowling. And Dwight, you're hosting a new outlet for local and national bowling news on the radio.
Yeah, Phil, we're real excited about it. It's going to be on WSSP 1250 AM on Sunday mornings from 8 to 9. And we're going to be discussing the local news. We're going to have a local spotlight section, and then we're going to have a PBA Pro call-in every week.
And if you missed the live broadcast or you live outside of WSSP's broadcast area, you can always catch those podcasts at sportsradio1250.com. The Milwaukee Bucks and Columbia St. Mary's present Bucks Bowl for the Cure on Friday, October 28th at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. $30 entry fee includes bowling, shoe rental, t-shirt, gift bag, and 2 tickets to select Bucks games during the 2011-2012 season. For more information about Bucks Bowl for the Cure, go to bucks.com/bowl. Wisconsin's bowling information headquarters, bowlweb.com. Share ideas on the bowling forum, or catch up on the latest bowling news nationally and locally on Jeff Rickles' 11th Frame blog. That's bowlweb.com. The girls semifinal for the 2011 Kickoff Classic from Castle Lanes. And Dwight, a couple of the younger bowlers we have in this series for the girls scratch division, but they are competitors, and it's going to be a tough match between Stephanie and Tedra.
Yeah, Stephanie 15 years old, Tedra 17 years old. Looks like Stephanie is starting off with a Rain of Fire, which she used during qualifying. And it looks like she also has got a Virtual Gravity Nano 2 on the rack, Phil. Very impressive shot.
Yeah, almost tripped that 4 out. As you can see, you'll see both these ladies playing quite deep on the lane. Stephanie inside a third arrow to start off with. Tedra will be right around 12th board, just inside the second arrow. And it's just going to be a matter of both these girls finding the pocket in practice. Could be a matter of who carries that one extra shot during the match.
Thing again that I'm real impressed with this girl is, again, all that ball speed and all that rev rate, Phil. But again, if you look real close at that last shot of hers from that side angle, she's quite a distance away from the foul line. I would say probably a good almost 2 feet. And you know how I feel about that. So that's a big tip out there for all the bowlers. You want to, again, you watch the ladies and the men on the Pro Tour, you'll see that they slide with their slide foot, usually they end up about between 2 to 4 inches from the foul line.
And a great start by Tedra. She's just coming off that Festival Doubles Championship with Carlina Williams. on the last show.
And they both so good in that, Phil. And we didn't talk about it much on that show, but Tedra just reminds me so much of a Gina Dereshevsky type of form with her footwork and her upper body type of balance. Looks very much like Gina. Beautiful follow through, nice side rotation, gorgeous double to start. This girl can bowl.
Absolutely, just nice and relaxed all the way through. And hey, look at that! It's Albrecht Spare Time Pro Shop. How did that get on the screen, Dwight?
Thank you there, Phil. We appreciate that.
Absolutely. Anything we can do to help out inside of New Berlin Bowl. New Berlin Bowl, a great tournament sponsor. You'll see a couple of our U Challenge Tournament Series events this year coming from New Berlin Bowl, and know that you're going to keep the shop open for the kids and help them out with whatever they need while they're there.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. We'll always be open when you have your tournaments here. Just in case they need an opening of a thumb hole or want to look into a new ball, we can punch it out right away for them. And you can see Stephanie tripped that 4 out, that first frame she left the 4, so she's kind of creeping high on both shots, Phil.
Yeah, I think we'll see her make a little bit of a move to the left here. She needs to find a little more of that oil in the mid lane, around 30-35 feet, to keep that ball from going too high too early. Great amount of drive she's got on the ball, Tedra as well, and it's just a matter of you don't want that too much of a drive, that 4-pin can come back and haunt you later on in the game.
Correct. I think you hit it right on the head. You said it earlier that you're going to be able to get to the pocket with this type of pattern, but getting to the right break point to carry is going to be another thing.
Yeah, just a little weak. Watch that ball deflect. Goes through the 9-pin spot in the replay there and just lets that 6-pin sit in the gutter.
Yeah, that's a great camera angle, Phil, and you can end up seeing that ball right before it hit the pins, they actually quit a little bit. Nice cover, though.
Absolutely, and she's been in pressure situations before. She made the Chocolate City Challenge out of Town and Country Lanes last year for that TV show, and then up at High School State last year. What can you say? Gets up needing the mark for her team in the 10th frame of the state final match, leaves a 4-pin, covers it, and strikes for the victory for Racine Park.
Clutch bowling.
Yeah, it was their first state championship over perennial powerhouse Kenosha Trumpet. And Tedra real lucky to get the 10-pin out and just leave the 2.
Yeah, you can see that there's a big track between, let's say, about 8 to about 13 or 14, but you get out a little side outside of 8, and there's a little hold or hang out there. So, little OB outside of 8. Uses the plastic ball and covers it nicely. Again, the philosophy of a spare shooting is straight is great. Draw that line back from the pin that you're targeting and straight through your target line and draw that imaginary straight line, and that's how you make your spares, and she covered it just beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Angelo, great advice he was giving kids last year up at the Sean Yona Memorial. Object of the spare is to just knock it over.
Correct. That's the biggest thing. Is it's all going to look the same on the score sheet. Strikes are another thing, but 9 spare, and fill in frames, that's what's going to win you your tournaments, give you the higher averages also.
Exactly.
Nice shot there. Just threw the 5 into the 7, just a little lazy on the 7. Look at how she uses that spare ball, Phil, even cross alley at that 7-pin. I'll tell you right now, that's awfully tough to do, and I guarantee you she has practiced that, Phil, and there's a lot of discipline there.
Oh, absolutely, because especially on a pattern like this where there's a larger concentration of oil in the middle than there is on some of the sport patterns these young bowlers bowl on, if you leak it out to the right with that plastic ball, it's gone. It's exactly it. So
you can tell there's been a lot of practice on her part.
Another great shot by Stephanie, and she's not going to get that messenger to come back across in another week 10, and maybe that move off the 4-pin, she needs to kind of find a happy medium.
Yeah, the old caught in between. You get a board out outside too early, you leave the 4-pin, you make your adjustment, you move a board or 2 left with your feet, and then you leave the cold 10, and you're just not getting that right break point. If you don't make a change quick, this match could be over real soon.
And she's checking her finger right away. I don't know if she had a little problem with moisture or a little...
Seeing if it's still there.
Yeah. But that's going to put her down by 20 pins going into the 5th frame right before we take our commercial break for this match, and she needs to come back in a hurry.
Yeah, and she might actually be even still thinking about that 10-pin. It's really hard to let go mentally of a shot prior, and oh my goodness, what a bad break there, Phil.
I think she moved it back in the oil, but she picked her speed up as well, and I think we'll get to see a replay on this. I hope. Maybe not. That 8-pin or that ball just hit and just deflected all the way through. Nothing got near the 8-pin.
Yeah.
And she's just going to have to take the 1 getting into the commercial break here, and that's going to put her down by 31 pins. We'll be back with the second half of this match from Castle Lanes in just a couple of minutes. the second half of our girls semifinal from Castle Lanes. And Dwight, Tedra, Tado, commanding lead here, and she's been around the pocket all 4 shots so far.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at statistics of the girls hitting the pocket, they're both very high and very close to the pocket. The difference is Tedra is getting a little bit better break point, a little bit better ball reaction on that last 10 feet. And that shot in particular, she did not. She got it a little wide and the ball didn't want to finish. But she's getting that ball to turn up to the pocket. And what ended up happening with Stephanie, she moves in, and now the ball lost that last 10 feet of drive and obviously left the 8-10 on that last shot. I'll tell you, though, I am so impressed with Tedra's spare shooting. My goodness, I mean, gets up there, dinner bucket on TV. You know how hard that is? She takes a plastic ball, boom, done, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking to her before the match started, she's not one to take a lot of times between frames. She thinks sometimes if she thinks about a shot too much, she gets a little tentative with it, and her swing doesn't stay nice and loose like she likes. And I think that 7-pin needs to loosen up off the pin deck a little bit. I think it's nailed down.
I was just going to say, what missed that? I mean, that was 10 flush back, and how can that stand?
Well, once again, no time. She's prepared for every shot when she gets up on the approach, knows what she wants to do. And Katie Zwiefelhofer, we're going to see in the championship match, the same way. I mean, we're going to have trouble keeping up with both those bowlers, I think, when we get to the commentary for that last game, because neither one of them takes a lot of time, but they know what they're doing when they step up on the approach.
Yeah, just cruise control. I mean, it's absolutely on cruise control. The thing I'm just so impressed with, it takes me longer to analyze in my head. How am I going to adjust for this 7-pin? And Tedra gets up there and just, okay, I'm going to move 15 right. Yeah. Draw that straight line back from the 7-pin to my mark, and okay, let's sit down.
Yeah, it's a fine line between, in watching these kids, you have to note that fine line between kids not seeming like they care so much and kids knowing what they're going to do when they get up there. Coaches, high school coaches, I know there's a lot of you that watch these shows. Be careful with that with your kids. Some of the kids, it's not that they don't care, it's just they know what they're doing when they step up on the approach.
Yeah, to be that young and have that much confidence in yourself is just unbelievable. Stephanie made a ball change there, Phil. I saw her do her old switch grip and on that, and you could see definitely that ball hit the track at about 35-40 feet and started to drive dead left. Obviously that one going through the nose, so maybe she can adjust off of that shot and maybe move it a couple boards now more back in.
Yeah, that ball that she's using, that virtual gravity nano, is definitely going to roll up about 5 feet sooner than that other ball, and that was just trouble getting out of her hand. And now the frustration is going to set in. There's no doubt about it. You found yourself in jail on a shot that's supposedly pretty easy, and sometimes house patterns can be a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
You're trying to get that ball to carry to keep up with the pace of everybody else.
And it's also tough to make a ball change in the middle of a match when you're getting to the pocket with your rain of fire and you're not carrying and you're running out of frames. Your opponent is hitting the pocket, striking and filling frames, and I'll tell you that window becomes awfully smaller.
Becomes like a postage stamp by the time you're done with it.
Absolutely. So, she had to go with her gut and felt that she made the right decision, but obviously when you make a ball change and that ball's going to be 3 to 4 boards stronger, obviously she just didn't move quick enough or get into the right spot quick enough. The thing that I want to show you on Tedra's game, Phil, is how steady her head and her shoulders are. Folks, watch her finish area real close and watch how level her head and her shoulders are. And you see that a lot on a lot of the ladies on the Pro Tour and the men on the Pro Tour, how there's zero movement in that head and that shoulders at that release point when that beautiful follow-through arm is going past her ear, and there's absolutely zero movement with the head and the shoulders. And that's what you're going to be able to, why you can hit what you're aiming at when you have that nice steady silent head with the silent shoulders.
Yeah, and nothing but 10 back, gets the 6-pin and just kiss the 10 on the way down, and that's going to extend that lead out to 41 pins. Stephanie's maximum score right now is 191. Tedra just needs to fill in the last 2 frames to advance herself to the championship match against Katie Zwiefelhofer, and she's still checking out the skin on those fingers there, Dwight.
Yep. Could be a blister starting, Phil, but you could see she finally moved in, finally got good ball reaction. The ball gave her entry angle on that last 5 feet again, and that's why all of them are gone.
Well, and these kids are, I pound it all the time in these shows, these kids are athletes. These young bowlers bowled 9 games yesterday to qualify for the Festival Double Show. They bowled 9 games today to make it on the TV here. So that's 18 games in a weekend that Stephanie's got under her belt before she even stepped under the TV lights. And you know, to respond back, she switched back to her other ball, swings nice and loose now because, hey, everything's pretty much over. There's your double.
Right, it's amazing. And the thing is, she's just those last 2 shots, Phil, she got that banana-shaped motion in terms of the ball reaction, and next thing you know, no more 9 counts.
Tedra going to keep trying to find that line. 22 is the one giving her a little bit of trouble this match. She's gone light a couple times on it that time.
Yeah,
They're
she thought that
10.
was 10 back. There's no doubt about it. You look at her facial expression, she thought that was there. And it was. It was a great shot. Whistled the 6 up and around. Very little time. Look at that nice steady head and shoulders. Wow. Some college coach out there is going to be drooling at his mouth when he sees her on video.
Yeah, something tells me I'm going to get a request from her parents for a couple extra DVDs of this show to start sending out to colleges.
What a great physical game. You're going to see a lot of this girl for many, many years to come. Watch out for the other college girls that are out there. This girl will be a force.
That's just a little left out of her hand, but it held pocket.
A little faster on her speed, and you get away with that. She's got a little bit more of a spinner type of release. So that's going to make the ball push that extra couple little feet, prevents it from going through the nose and falling back into the pocket for a 10 back strike, flush strike.
And that shows that you don't have to cover a lot of boards by having a strong roll on the ball to get through the pocket. And that's why watching your ball reaction all the way through the pin deck, even if you're just a higher average league player or somebody that's looking to improve their game, watch what your ball does all the way down the lane. Watch what it does when it goes through the pin deck. You can get a lot of clues on what moves you need to make in order to keep your carry going.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. 2 big spots that I watch is what it's doing in the first 20 feet and then what it's doing right before the pins. I mean, absolutely, you got to have that right break point to score or to get the strikes.
Tedra with a clean 202 game. That's impressive. It's only the 2nd time under the lights for her, and
great game.
I don't think we've seen an open out of her yet, not to jinx her, but I know we didn't see an open out of her at the Festival Doubles finals. Stephanie going to try to finish things off here, and hey, what a surprise, another 10-pin for her.
Yeah, and she just didn't get that, again, last 10 feet of entry angle, and didn't get that banana-shaped type of motion, and next thing you know it, flat 10.
So she's going to walk out of here today with a $70 scholarship. So a couple more years to go for school. She's only a sophomore at Racine Park this year.
Again, even though she didn't win this match, she's still got a great, bright future. I would try to get her to get a little closer to the foul line with her slide foot. She's quite a distance from the foul line, but she'll look back at this and learn from this and obviously bowl better next time.
Absolutely. With that, we're going to get to the championship match between Tedra Tado and Katie Zwiefelhofer, and we'll be back with that from Castle Lanes in just a couple of minutes. Barbiere's, a Milwaukee institution since 1963. Great Italian food for dine-in or carry-out, and great times for your family and friends. Barbiere's, in the heart of South Milwaukee, and near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road.
As in-state coordinators, it's our responsibility to help introduce this program throughout the state of Wisconsin. As of right now, we've actually introduced it to more than 395 schools with a potential of over 100,000 students. In the city of Milwaukee itself, there are 109 different schools in the MPS system, of which we are in close to 80 of them for last season and hope to reach over 100 by the end of this year.
Basically, if you want to get started in the program, you would contact BCAW, and they would contact me, and therefore I would send to the school the curriculum, and the teachers would look it over. The Milwaukee schools, most of them already have it, and then I contact Ralph Krieger, who would deliver the equipment to them. It's usually done for a 3-week session. Some schools do, teachers do 2 different schools, so they can keep the equipment longer.
Okay, well, once the schools have the program in TAC, I will get a hold of them and set up a delivery date and time with the coordinator of the event, and then deliver all the products that are needed to the schools. I will also do the picking up. One thing that we want to stress also is that there is no cost involved to the schools or to the students.
I found that the equipment was extremely easy to use. It came in a nice bag, and the mats were all rolled up with the balls and pins in it. All you got to do is roll the mats out, set up the pins and the balls at the end of the lane, and we were ready to roll. I found it extremely easy for the kids to pick up the curriculum. We had the book that they had given us had all the lessons in it, different cues that you can use as far as teaching the different lessons. It was extremely easy to use.
Bowling fans, you've waited all day for it. The 2011 Kickoff Classic Girls Championship match. Familiar face to Katie Zwiefelhofer here, Dwight. And what can you say about Katie that we haven't said before on her past 14 shows?
I guess one word, Phil, impressive.
Looking sharp in that high five gear black and pink shirt, but not impressive for her first shot on TV in a couple of weeks. Pulls it and leaves a 6-pin.
This is the first chance I had a chance to at least comment on her game, and in that shot in particular, yeah, she did pull it. But the thing that I'm impressed with her is she's got that great ball speed, Phil, and USBC has proved that higher ball speed will equal out to higher average as long as it's matched up to the rev rate.
And Katie, I mean, she had a heck of a year this past season. As a freshman at UW Whitewater, made the USBC Intercollegiate Singles Championships, finished 12th in the nation. Helped the UW Whitewater women's team to the USBC Team Championships, where they finished 12th as well. 4 Youth Challenge titles, JBST titles, you name it, she's done it. And Tedra's not going to let her get away, though. No doubt about that.
Yeah, this ought to be a great match, Phil. I mean, the old cliche is the cream rises to the top, and obviously these two girls are obviously very, very talented.
Yeah, and Tedra's bug last game was lane 22. That was the one that she was having a little problem coming up light end. And to start by packing all 10 straight back in that first shot, she's letting Katie know it's going to be a match.
Absolutely. I'm here.
This could be easily a 240 to 230 match. And wow, I thought she was going to get enough skid off that ball because it kind of came off her hand a little quick. But yet, she
last second it jumped it.
Yeah.
Right before it hit the pins, last second it jumped. Well, you know, Phil, with that plastic spare ball and how straight she goes, look at that.
How about that?
That is
no
impressive.
problem. Nonchalant, la-di-da. It's just a 4-9.
4-9.
I'll make it.
Yep.
So, yeah, just amazing. You have about a half an inch down lane at 62.5 feet on that 4-pin to make it, and she covers it like she's done it for years.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I've seen a lot of bowlers in my 40-plus years, but I'll tell you right now, she's got a great spare game.
Yeah, and Katie bounces right back. Katie with the home field advantage. I mean, she does bowl here at Castle Lanes. Lenny Boris with Bowler's Choice Pro Shop behind lanes 23 and 24 here at Castle Lanes. Drills up her equipment. So you got to figure home field advantage. You got to give it a little bit to Katie.
Absolutely. I mean, she obviously you're always going to get comfortable if you're bowling on that environment week after week. You're going to know each pair inside and out, and you're going to know the general characteristics of the house. Absolutely. I really like her ball choice too, Phil. She's using that mission, and what I like about that mission is that even archy type of motion, and that's what you want, especially if the lanes are a little over/under.
Yep. I mean, both bowlers use Ebonite products. I mean, Mission 2.0 is in Tedra's hands right now, and that ball's just a little more aggressive on the back end than the regular Mission.
Yes, a little bit more lengthier. They add a little bit more pearl to it, so that's what makes it a little bit more lengthier. Big break there. Again, pulled it a little bit on the high side, but yeah, it should be a little lengthier, a little bit harder on the back. The original Mission is a little earlier and a little bit more smoother or evener.
Once again, to that plastic spare ball. Nice post at the line. She could hold that post. Her and Katie could both hold those posts all day.
Yep, all day. Just this is how it's done. You young girls out there, watch these two girls. This is how it's done. Just great overall physical games, and you can tell it they've been worked on hard. But this is what you want to look like, especially at the finish. You take a look at that balance, the left arm, that beautiful follow through. This is how it's done.
Absolutely, and another great strike. She's on that pace, just 11 pins behind Katie right now, but Katie is working on that double.
Yeah, this could be a lot closer, Phil, with that 4-9. That could have been a strike, and that the only bad shot she had was the third frame.
5 steps, Katie Zwiefelhofer, and that needs some help. I didn't think it was going to make it all the way back flush, Dwight.
Well, again, I just think that it's a good matchup for ball for her. And obviously the biggest thing, Phil, is getting that right ball that's going to give you that maximum margin of error.
And just watch that ball drive straight. You could put that shot, it was so pretty, on the cover of a bowling instructional book, and this is the strike you're looking for.
And that's why there's no pins left on the deck.
looking for that 4 in a row. We won't use that other nasty term some other people use out there.
Yeah, I was corrected last time on that, Phil, and she saves me, calling it a ham bone. So, and again, it was a great shot. Just the 6 fell a little flat in the gutter, and she was a little light in the pocket and didn't have a lot of entry angle. But you know, Phil, she's filling frames.
That's what counts right now. I mean, Tedra last match 202 clean, and Katie looking to stay clean here as well. Covers that up nicely. With that, we're going to get into the commercial break for this match. Katie Zwiefelhofer with a 20-pin lead, and we'll be back from Castle Lanes after this short break. New Berlin Bowl presents the 2011 Wisconsin Women's Open on Sunday, November 6th, with a guaranteed $500 first place prize. This is Wisconsin's premier one-day scratch women's only event. Be sure to get your entry in early. You can contact Kevin Frew at New Berlin Bowl at 262-641-0014 or go to newberlinbowl.com. Dwight, we got a heck of a match going here, but Tedra Tado down in the girls' championship by 20 pins, but working on that all-important fourth frame strike.
We thought this would be close, Phil. I mean, again, look at the talent of these girls. It's going to come down to who gets the breaks and who carries the 10, maybe.
And rolls up and wraps that 10. Boy, that's a tough one right there.
Just what I said, Phil. Kind of called it. You know, that's huge because, I mean, she's coming off that 7 pin in the third frame, comes back with a strike in the fourth, could try to get this match closer, and then leaves just that straight whistling 6 around the 10.
Yeah, I mean, if she carries that one and carries the next one in the 6th on lane 21, it's a tie game.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Phil, I watch her shoot spares, and it's almost like the ball's like a foot away from the pins when she lets it go. I mean, not only does she make the spares, but she makes them perfect.
Oh, there's no doubt when it's out of her hand. We haven't seen a non-close attempt out of her all day.
Very impressive game.
Snaps through it real nice and clean, and that one, of course, kicks the 10 out.
Yeah. Now how big is that 10 pin now?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that could have been a 3-bagger. This match could have been completely evened up.
Exactly. Katie Zwiefelhofer, no, she's got a little bit of a break from her opponent leaving that 10, but she left the 10 of her own in frame number 5.
Yeah, a little sigh of relief. Again, when you're a bowling and you got that 20 to 30 pin lead, I'll tell you right now, that arm swing can become pretty loose. If it's just a few pins difference, I mean, that definitely is, you're going to sweat it out until the very end.
Yeah. Just a little high, which we haven't seen too much on lane 22 today out of the bowlers. 22 has been playing a little tighter, and usually we've been seeing 2 pins or light 7s or weak 10s, and unusually we see a 4 pin on that lane.
Yeah, it just seems to me, I see the whitewater spare ball. I got to comment on that right away. That's pretty cool, and I believe that's made by On the Ball in Chicago, I believe. But that's a pretty neat ball, and I know that they have even the matching whitewater shirts from High Five too. Yep. So pretty neat that you got the spare ball along with the matching shirt. And obviously wonderful cover there out of Katie.
Yeah, and High Five Gear's got a lot of new stuff coming out, as you commented before. You can always go check out their website, highfivegear.com. EFX Performance Products as well, a great sponsor of the U-Challenge Series. Check them out at efxusa.com. And Katie, no problem there, throws another strike.
Yep, just shredded the rack. A little bit of a fallback. And that's the thing that I've noticed with this pattern, Phil. It almost like you almost know by 35 feet what the ball is going to do. It's like the ball kind of really reads the lane very early, or if you know you're inside, you know that the ball is going to really push a long way down the lane.
And that one needed to push about 3 feet farther.
Yep, a little bit inside the target. She was hoping for the fallback. It didn't happen. This very similar shot to what she had in the third frame, Phil, leaving the 7 pin. Unfortunately, didn't get the break this time going through the nose. And again, gave it a great try for the spare.
Gets the 1 pin. And once again, we want to thank the sponsors here at Castle Lanes, Phil and Patty Onko. Great hosts as always. And they said put out a competitive, fun shot for the tournament for the kids. They knew it was going to be a little bit easier than what they normally bowl on, and the scores showed it. I mean, the tournament today, we had a 300 game by Ryan Zagar, who you'll see in the boys show. We had a 299 game by Aaron Adams, who you saw in the Festival Doubles show. Amazing, amazing bowling by these young folks today.
Yeah, totally agree, Phil. I mean, our youth right now, the kids that are out there that are bowling these tournaments, I mean, you could tell they have worked hard on their games, and they're reaping the benefits of that.
The backdoor 4 pin, that's one you don't see too often. I hope we get to catch the replay on that one, because Watch the 2-pin do all the work and take the 4-pin out at the base of the 4. That's something you don't see too often.
Great trip there. Huge double, commanding lead. But for Tedra, it's going to definitely look back. It's going to be that 7th frame. I mean, this could have been a completely different match if she gets that strike in that 7th frame.
Yeah, Katie's just got to. Well, I thought she was going to carry that one and lock it up right away, but she makes this spare and gets good count in the 10th frame, no matter what Tedra does.
Yeah.
It's going to be over.
That was a great thrown 10-pin right there. That wasn't a weak 10 at all or 6 whistler. How do you stand 10-pin? That's what that 10-pin was.
Ho-hum, no problem turning it up. And one thing last time when Katie was on at the border battle, she really had a problem with making her spares on TV. And talking to her before the match today is one thing she said she's going to take a little extra time and focus on was making sure getting those spares down, not giving the opponent the breaks that she gave him last time out.
Well, Phil, as fast as these girls are bowling, I don't know where I see that little extra time.
Break for Tedra there, just to leave the 6-10. It'll be tough taking a second place out of here today after taking the championship in the festival doubles here, but she's taking home a $100 scholarship, a lot more experience, and when she gets back into the high school season for Elk Grove High School down in Illinois, something tells me she's going to be a leader on that team during her senior season this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see her fill percentage, too. I mean, it's got to be off the chart.
So, yeah, one thing, once October comes around, we lose our Illinois bowlers for the season. High school rules down there are a little bit different because they are sanctioned by their version of the WIAA. And once they start bowling high school, they can't even bowl their Saturday morning junior leagues, nothing like that at all. So we take a little bit of a break during that part of the season. Still bringing plenty of great shows on Time Warner Cable Sports. We get a few more of the adult events on there. We got Action Heating and Cooling coming back, sponsoring all our events at Motion Plus Lanes again this year, so we want to thank them for that. We'll have the singles, the alternate shot doubles, and, of course, the always fun all-Baker team event. Baker team bowling, that's always fun, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's just amazing how quick it goes by, and you only really have 2 shots a game. That's really all you have. But, the big thing, Phil, is I love the team aspect of it, and that's what it was in the old days. So that's why I love Baker so much.
Yeah, and that's why it's great for high school bowling as well. And, Katie at Proctor, the Racine Park program, great coaching there with Red Chapman, and, of course, the good coaching she gets from her dad, Steve. You see him pacing behind her there. Even though it's all wrapped in the bag, the parental nerves still keep going.
Absolutely, Phil. It's always harder on the relatives or the parents in the back, and for the girls, it's probably a piece of cake up on the lanes, but the poor parents in the back are either biting off the remaining amount of their fingernails or have to go outside and have a smoke or something.
Yep. Well, Katie's going to take the $150 prize here today, first place in the girls division, scholarship money. And because she's wearing EFX performance gear, she's got that wristband on her left wrist. She also receives an additional $40 bonus from EFXUSA.com. So, Balance products, tell you, they work out nice. They've helped me out, and I know they helped Katie out here. And
great game, clean game, Phil. Beautiful 225, clean game. That's the big thing.
Title number 6 for Katie. With that, Dwight and I are going to come back from Castle Lanes and give you the wrap up on this show and lead you into the boys' finals in just a couple of minutes. Oh, with me here again, Dwight Albrecht from Spare Time Pro Shop in New Berlin Bowling. And Dwight, you're hosting a new outlet for local and national bowling news on the radio.
Yeah, Phil, we're real excited about it. It's going to be on WSSP 1250 AM on Sunday mornings from 8 to 9. And we're going to be discussing the local news. We're going to have a local spotlight section, and then we're going to have a PBA Pro call-in every week.
And if you missed the live broadcast or you live outside of WSSP's broadcast area, you can always catch those podcasts at sportsradio1250.com. The Milwaukee Bucks and Columbia St. Mary's present Bucks Bowl for the Cure on Friday, October 28th at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. $30 entry fee includes bowling, shoe rental, t-shirt, gift bag, and 2 tickets to select Bucks games during the 2011-2012 season. For more information about Bucks Bowl for the Cure, go to bucks.com/bowl. Well, Dwight, great matches today on the show. The final match, Katie Zwiefelhofer pulled it out after kind of a bad break for Tedra.
Yeah, that 7th frame really hurt her, Phil. A lot of 9 counts throughout the match. Both girls were hitting the pocket pretty good, but you got to get those 10 frames filled in that had that one little blip, like you talk about, that one little mistake, and that cost her. But again, great viewership, great matches.
Absolutely. Katie takes home that $225 total scholarship thanks to the bonus from EFX Performance Gear. And bowling fans, don't forget, if you're looking for more bowling news on the local and national scene, there's Spare Time with Sparky and Dwight on WSSP Radio 1250, Sunday mornings from 8 to 9.
Yeah, looking forward to it, Phil. We'll be covering local topics. We'll be covering some of the things going on in the tour. It ought to be a great show.
Yeah, and if you missed the live broadcast or you live outside of WSSP's broadcast area, you can always catch the podcast at sportsradio1250.com. We'll be back with our next show, also from Castle Lanes, the boys' finals of the 2011 Kickoff Classic, and Dwight will be joining me for that one as well. For my friend Dwight, I'm Phil Brylow, and parents, take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you again on the next show.